Hello and welcome back. Today, this is the day. It's going to be my S5 review, so let's dive into it. This is my review on the Lumix S5 and why I think it's great. Right now I've been using it for about 3 months and I've loved every second of using it. It's been such a joy and thrill using it. It's captured my imagination and inspired me to go out there and film and create more things. So this is why I'm making this video, and this is why I think you should just have a look at this camera because it is great. To start off, I'm going to start off with all the good points of why I really like it, and number one on there is the IBIS. The in-body stabilization in this camera is fantastic. It is, you know, it's on par with the gimbal. It's so good, you know, it has that handheld feel, but it is so smooth. Literally do a lot of 60 frames per second handheld slow-mo stuff. So when you use that, just the combination is great, and it is fantastic. I can't describe it in any other ways. It is such a joy to just be able to stand there and use it handheld. It is amazing, and it is one of the top reasons why I got this camera in the first place, and it hasn't let me down yet. One of the second things I really like about this camera is the different picture profiles you can get on it. You know, there's a neutral one, which is great. I just use that normally for taking photos. And then, you know, there's a Ranger and there's a Cine D2, Cine V3, and they're all like emulations, which are sort of robbed from Fuji cameras. But the reason why I got it was for Vlog. Vlog is just this really super flat, it almost looks grey profile, but what the Vlog does, it retains all of this information in there. So that is one of the reasons why I really like it, is because it retains so much information in the highlights, the shadows, and it is just an all-round great image quality when you use Vlog. And that brings me on to my next point, is the dynamic range. This has 14 stops of dynamic range, and it is incredible. I've used it outside and the highlights have been blown out of the way. They have been absolutely destroyed till they just look like a white sheet. And then I've gone back into the computer and I've dialed them right back, and they're there. All the clouds are there, the highlights are back. It is incredible. What I have done though is I've created my own picture profile on there. So it's a flat picture profile on there, and then I've taken some of the contrast down. And I've done that so I can match it up with the Canon M50. So when I do videos like this, it matches up a bit better, and it doesn't, the files aren't as big, it doesn't retain as much information, so it's just a lot easier on my laptop to edit. And it's just, you know, I don't need Vlog all the time, especially for YouTube videos. You know, you don't need Vlog, you know, but when you're out there filming professional projects, Vlog has been great. But you know, it has the adaptability for both things. You know, it's a great YouTuber camera, and you know, I can use it on professional shoots, which has been a dream. Now, my next point on this camera is the size and the weight of it. And it is one of the smallest full frame sensor cameras you can get out there, and it is fantastic. It has a really nice weight to it. It's not like as light as the M50. So when I was moving the M50, it was just too light, you know, which was great, you know, if you're on the go, but it has a nice weight to it, so you can balance those smooth shots out. You know, it feels really good in your hand, really natural. That's another thing, the ergonomics of this camera is brilliant. You know, it feels really natural in your hand. All the buttons and dials are really nice and well thought out, and the layout on them, you know, you've got the aperture wheel on the front, you've got the shutter on the back, you know, and it's really handy bit of equipment to use when it's in your hand. You know, it just feels fantastic, and the weight of it is just perfect for just filming. That's the hardest thing to say, is filming. You need a bit of weight of the camera, you know, to balance out that center of gravity, and it has been a dream for those two qualities right there. Like, it is a bit bigger than the Canon, but at the end of the day, I don't really mind, because it is a nice feel to it, and it's not as massive as a cinema camera or the SH1 or similar cameras like that. You know, it is still small and compact, and you can use it very freely and it's very mobile. The main reason I actually got this camera was the full frame sensor on it. It is amazing. It is outstanding, and you know, you can whack the ISO up and you not get a lot of image noise through. It takes really high quality photos that are fantastic, and the focal lengths are true to it. So say I'm shooting on 20mm right now, nice and wide, it's 20mm. If I did it on the Canon, it'd be, you know, 30, 35mm. So it's been great, you know, not having to do math on it, and the sensor is amazing quality. Now, while I'm taking photos with this camera, the eyepiece has been great. You know, it has been so true to the eye, through the eye. I know a lot of people aren't a fan of using the eyepiece, they just use the flip screen, but for taking photos, I'm a massive fan of using the eyepiece, and it is great on this camera. And you know, I feel like I've been taking better photos just because the eyepiece has been so in tune with my eye. And obviously there's going to be a bit of like issues at the start, you know, groundbreaking into the camera, but I feel that the eyepiece has been really, it's just great. It's got this really nice soft thing around it. It's really clear through it. It doesn't fog up when you like breathe or anything. It's really heavy and durable. That's another thing, this camera is really weather resistant. I took it on a shoot up in the valleys a month ago or so now, and it rained the whole time. And instead of calling it off, I just carried on filming right the way through it, and this camera got soaked. And it held together perfectly. It didn't, you know, crash, freeze. There was nothing on the screen, no moist, no condensation anywhere. It was so durable and rugged. It just kept on going and going through. I'm thinking about 3 hours shooting in the rain, and it just withstood it all. So it is very well weather sealed. Now, my final good point about this camera is the lens it comes with. The 20 to 60mm lens has been great. It covers all the focal ranges that I've needed. And for that reason, I haven't bought any other lenses yet, and I've literally just stuck with this. And I plan to, because with documentary filmmaking and this YouTube filmmaking, you know, you need to be adaptable on your feet. You don't want to go changing in and out lenses all the time. So that is why I've stuck with just using this lens for now, and it's treated me very well, and I'm just going to keep going with it, rolling with this lens. Not everything on this camera is good. It is a great price, great camera, but it does come with some downsides, like the autofocus. Now, I've used it a fair bit, and I've just done manual focus, but apart from right now, these talking head pieces, I've used autofocus all the time, and it has been great when the camera has been static. However, when you start moving it, it just loses the points of focus. And you know, so I just tend to, you know, use manual focus, set the focus points, you know, and do it as I go along. And that's been great because I've learned a lot more about manual focusing, and this ring is really good. You can dial it in really nice, and it's nice and slow and smooth and got a bit of resistance. But yeah, the autofocus isn't great. I played around with some of the settings and found a sort of good medium where I can get away with it with talking head pieces like now, but it is still a downside. It's not as good as Canon, not as good as Sony. So yeah, I think that the autofocus isn't fantastic. On the side of the Lumix, there's two little metal strap things, and they're there so you can put a strap so you can put it on. I never really use those things. What they are is they're really annoying because they just shake all the time, and sometimes if I'm moving about a bit, I can hear it in the audio. So that is a big downside, I think, is they've put these metal. I think you can take them off, but sometimes I use the strap when I take photos, sometimes I don't. So if there's a better way out there, please somebody say and comment below, because I would love to hear it. But it's just, they're just shaking all the time and you can't stop them, and make a little rattle and you can hear it in the sound. So that is, you know, I think that could have been ergonomically improved better, you know, different solution from Lumix. But I'm niggling here. When I record audio through a lav mic, I tend to put the volume down because when it goes through the lav mic, it's quite close and the audio normally peaks. So I've gone into the settings, but you can only put it down to minus 12 decibels, and sometimes the lav has been a bit louder than that, so it has peaked sometimes. So this has been a bit annoying. I don't know why that is, if it's just, they don't, like, you don't want it to go over minus 12 decibels anyway, but sometimes it does. So I don't know whether that's something with the Lumix or whether it's just the audio in general. They don't think it's going to go over the minus 12 decibels, but I found that very annoying. But with stuff like this, I just use the mic on top of the camera and whack it up and it seems to be fine. So when you use shotgun mics in it, it's been great, but when I put the lav into it, I've had some issues with the sound. The battery life on this camera, it's not the best. It's okay, it is good, it will keep going for a fair amount of time, but it is not as good as I thought it would be. The Canon, that just was terrible. It lasted about, I don't know, half an hour, 45 minutes. It is awful, the battery on that thing, because they're these little tiny batteries. However, this has got a nice big battery. I think it's the same as the GH1, and I thought, oh, this is gonna be great, it's gonna last a lot longer, and it does. But when you shoot, you know, 4K 10-bit, it drains it fast, and especially if you use the S&Q mode with it to slow it down, it drains it really fast. So I think the battery life could be improved on it, but it's not the end of the day. It does last a lot longer than the Canon, and the only trick is just to get a couple of batteries for it, a couple of spares, so when you're out on the shoot, you don't have to worry about these issues. The final point, I think, on the bad side is that when you zoom in, I'm sure there's a setting in the menu you can change it on, but when you focus, it zooms into that point just so you get it right. I don't really care about that all the time, to be honest. I think it's just, you know, it's good when you're just static and you're doing it, but when you're in the middle, it's it just zooms in and it's just really annoying to focus. I'd just rather it just, I see it on the screen and it focuses the screen rather than zooming into points and then you've got to move it around. It's just a bit of a hassle, but once again, I'm just niggling here. This is a great, fantastic camera for the price and I've loved it. None of these bad things have stopped me from going out there and creating and enjoying creating and just going out there and making videos for the fun of it. So that, it won't ever stop me from using this camera. It is great and I've really thoroughly enjoyed using it. But I want to know what cameras you use. What camera do you use for everyday content creation? And, you know, for personal projects, passion projects, YouTube, what is your camera of choice? There's loads out there. They're all great at the moment. They all do good jobs based on the tool you have to create what you want to create. And at the moment, we couldn't be more fortunate with all the great stuff out there. So this has been my S5 review after about 3-4 months. I'll probably do another one later on down the year. I just wanted to get my full review out there of all the things I like and don't like about this camera. And yeah, if you've got any pointers or if there's anything I've brought up in this video that you could help me on, or anything you'd like to know about the Lumix, if you're thinking about getting one, hit me up in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching this video. I really appreciate you guys coming and watching and spending the time with me on these videos. Is much appreciated. Don't forget to like it if you like this, comment and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this in the future. But until the next one, see you later.